Hi everyone, and this is Summer. As you can see, we have a little butterfly friend here who just joined me for the video. I hope you are all well, and I'm happy to be back with this new video about the second half of 2023, what we can expect, what are the major themes and energies for the second half of this year. So I'm going to share with you what came through. And the first thing I wanted to mention also for this summer period is that, well, we all know that it has been quite intense since the beginning of the year. It's almost like there's a small break during the summer period. Not that it's not going to still be intense. There's still going to be a lot of healing and evolution for everyone, but it's almost like it's going to simmer just a little bit, this intensity, so that we can breathe again. So it's just simmering down, slowing down a little bit. So that's good news. And the other major theme also that we are experiencing currently on Earth is the fire energy. And this is something that happens quite periodically on Earth, that the fire becomes really present. As you may know, there are extreme fires currently in Canada, unfortunately, and it's still going on apparently. So that's one thing. And the other, maybe you heard also about what is happening in France currently. There are a lot of fires in the cities, a lot of chaos, almost like a civil war kind of energy. And this is something that I mentioned in a post I made on social media, so I won't get too much into details. You can go read the post if you'd like on my Facebook, Telegram, or Instagram, and on the newsletter if you're subscribed. But I was mentioning the fact that this fire energy is actually the fire of purification. It's the alchemical fire, because it refers to a lot of things that are mentioned also in the book of Revelation, you know, so concerning the apocalypse. So it's very interesting to see that this fire is really the fire that transmutes, that purifies, and that transforms, which is the alchemical process actually. So it's the book of Revelation is actually very alchemical. So it's quite interesting to see that. And other thing, it's also related to the Kundalini energy of Mother Earth, which is, of course, awakening, as we know. So the fire energy is very connected to that, because it's also connected and related to the energy of the great central sun, which is the great central sun is actually activating the Kundalini energy of Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is purifying herself through the fire. So even though it's quite, terrible what is happening concerning these fires in Canada, or what is happening in France, or maybe in the country you are in, I don't know, but it's also necessary for this purification to occur. And the thing is also that about 5 to 10 years ago I had a vision about specifically French cities being, with fires everywhere and in chaos and the civil war energy. And I thought that what happened with the yellow vests was actually what I saw at the time. But then I felt there's something missing here. I think that it's not exactly what I saw. And what I saw was what is happening currently now. So again, it's probably, quite dark. But it's all for the good, because it really needs this purification, and we really need this transmutation and transformation to occur. One of the main themes for this summer, and it's going to start mid-July till end of August, beginning of September, it's that we are receiving very high new frequencies that are coming in, and specifically activating the portal of the heart center. So the portal of the heart center is one of the most important ones that we have. It is, of course, connected to unconditional love, but it is also the home of our soul, because our soul is unconditional love. And these activations are here to help us to open up this center even more, to open up also. So what I was perceiving is that it's opening up and it's creating like waves of energy, of frequencies, emanating from the center. And these waves of frequencies are all encompassing the whole universe actually. And maybe you know that the heart center, this portal, is also related to our multidimensional self. So it's through this portal that we are able to travel multi-dimensionally. And it also relates to, the notion of Merkaba. Maybe you're familiar with that or not. This is also maybe more high level, let's say spiritual stuff. But it's almost like we are preparing us for the activation also later on in our evolution of the Merkaba, which is the light body that allows us to travel in space and time. So the main theme is really anchoring in that unconditional love, because unconditional love is the base of everything in this universe. Everything is created out of love, through love, for love, and everything we experience is through love, for love. So anchoring that into our hearts is really the main theme, and it's really going to help us also to connect more with our higher self and our soul in the end, because, as I mentioned, it is the center of our soul. And this multidimensional aspect also relates to the consciousness that we are, because as a consciousness, we are everywhere at the same time. And so that's how we are able to travel, across space and time. It's that our consciousness is there right now. So it's like we are activating also this remembrance of who we are and this consciousness that we are. And of course the energy of the heart, and we still have our little friend here, this little butterfly on my shoulder. He keeps flying, around me, and it's funny. And so it's also, he's talking about traveling in space and time. Our soul is like this butterfly, actually. It's like flying across all these dimensions and feeling free and with lots of fluidity and joy. So I think the message of this butterfly is just saying that to us. And of course the heart energy, the love energy, is also connected to wisdom. So when we are centered in love, we are also connected to our own inner wisdom, which is almost, it goes really hand in hand with love, wisdom, And the other thing I perceived is that this energy of anchoring this unconditional love and opening of the heart center is going to happen mainly during the astrological period of Leo, which is the astrological sign that is actually connected to the heart as an organ. But as you know, the heart as an organ is obviously connected to the heart center, the heart chakra as well. So it's almost like we are really entering this new dimension, this new reality, which is the reality of unconditional love, anchoring that love, which is the dimension that we are, going to experience on Earth through the ascension to the new Earth, which is the fifth dimensional energy. The fifth dimensional energy is the heart energy. It's the love. And we are receiving all the frequencies we need to activate that, starting this summer and ongoing, of course. The other thing about this energy this summer is that there's going to be a lot of more, things are going to be much more in flow and with much more ease and flow, happening with more ease and flow. Situations will be, unblocked, maybe things that we wanted to heal since a long time that are recurring and we can't manage to get out or heal them are going to heal, because we've been diving deep since the beginning of this year, and starting from this summer the energy is much more fluid and flowing, and it's gonna, the image I perceived was almost like a mechanism that was blocked, and now the mechanism has been oiled, so it's starting to move again. And so things will be starting to move again. So all situations where we felt maybe heaviness or stuck or just blocked are going to be, released, liberated and unblocked during this period. Another thing that came through was also concerning joy and the fact that we should experience joy in everything we do, but specifically the joy of serving, the joy of service. And what came really strongly was that we should not mix the joy of serving, the joy of service, with sacrifice. Service does not mean sacrifice. And God knows how many of us, as light workers and empaths, we are so keen to help and give unconditionally and help guide and heal and counsel people. But sometimes, more often than not, we give too much and we forget that we need also to receive in return for this balance to occur. And so I've definitely been there during all these past years, and I'm starting to get out of it. But I was so much, in this joy of service, I was giving so much of myself, I was giving a lot of energy, a lot of my time, that I had several burnouts actually. So the burnouts are here to, like an alarm, a red flag to tell us there's something that's out of balance and you are giving too much of your energy and not receiving enough in return. So this is really a message especially for the light workers that are, healers, therapists, etc. Because I know that there is this inner nature that we have, that we always give all we have, But this leads very often to, if we are not careful, it leads to exhaustion. And then we become bitter, and then we become angry, and then there is no joy in service anymore. So the message here is really to be careful with that, and to always be conscious and aware that there needs to be a balance of energy between giving and receiving. Because again, service does not mean sacrifice. If we are giving without receiving, then we are in a form of sacrifice. And this can also lead sometimes to, even disease if we are not careful. So that's really a theme I think that I'm gonna maybe talk about more deeply in some other video, because it's so important for light workers and empaths. That's something that's so present that we really need to be careful with that. Another thing that's going to be quite present also during the summer and autumn period is a lot of synchronicities with animals. And when I say synchronicities, I mean like repeating synchronicities with the same animals, for example, or several animals can also be that. For example, we had a group, I just guided a retreat in June, and all the path that we walked, it was quite incredible, because all the path we walked in nature, we had beetles all the way, like several beetles on our path. And of course the beetle is related to transformation. It's also connected to ancient Egypt, so it's also quite pretty esoteric and alchemical. So it's really the deep transformation. So we had, only beetles all the way. And this is going to happen quite a lot for many of us during the summer and autumn. So of course, when we talk about synchronicities, we don't search for synchronicities, we allow them to happen. So it's not searching for signs and searching for the messages from the animals, it's allowing them to come to us. And what's really interesting is that if you have really several synchronicities with, for example, the same animal, go check on the internet what it relates to. What is this animal telling you? Because animals are messengers. And what I also perceived is that through these synchronicities with animals and the fact that they are teaching things to us, they are pointing at things for us and helping us to evolve and, maybe heal. Well, there's this deep connection, of course, with them that is, kind of, expanding, but also the deep connection with nature and with Mother Earth, and ultimately with the entire universe. So the animals are really here as messengers to show us how, as different species, we are all interconnected. And they are really like the, they are the link between that interrelation, interconnectivity we have between all different elements, all different beings, all different realms, etc., etc. Another theme that is also going to be ongoing, but I feel that a lot of us are going to experience that. It's like soul family reunions, but not only human family soul reunions, also galactic families. And that's something that's so beautiful to experience when we connect back with our galactic family, our family from the stars, because sometimes we carry a deep nostalgia within us and we don't know where that nostalgia comes from. The nostalgia may be of friends and beings that we love, a family that we love, but we don't perceive where it comes from. And when we reconnect with our galactic family, then we finally know, and we finally understand what was missing all this time. So it's most of the time pretty emotional. I've experienced it already, and I know it's absolutely beautiful and so emotional, and I'm so happy that it's going to happen for more and more people also during these times. So again, be open to that. Be open to connect, and when we connect also with our galactic family, soul family, there is also a kind of remembrance happening. So it's like we start remembering things, we start receiving new activations and new frequencies, new energies that we have forgotten, but are part still of us, of our being, our energy. So it's amazing, and I'm really happy that I've got this information, because reuniting all these galactic families can only be a happy moment for everyone. So in the autumn period, there is an energy of things coming together, like a puzzle almost coming together. Because since the beginning of the year, we have maybe initiated several things, we have started several things, and of course it's like we've been invited to really dive deep into the base of our being, into our roots, and sometimes uproot them, and sometimes, change a lot of things that we thought were, our reality. So there might be this feeling sometimes of uncertainty, or this fear of letting go of the past and fear of letting the new in. But it's almost like during the autumn period, everything is going to come into place, and everything that we have initiated during this year will come into form. So it will come more concretely into matter, which will help us to stabilize our energies. So I feel something like very stabilizing during the autumn, which will also help us to, to stay more grounded and centered, even though the collective is still going to be very intense and chaotic, because of course it's going to continue. But because there is this kind of base within us, and because we are anchoring more deeply into ourselves, but also the things that we started unraveling are gonna, more or less come into place. It's gonna be very reassuring, and we are gonna be more trusting also at the, when it happens. So that's also good news. And the other thing I perceived was that there's gonna be a deep dive, under earth, underground, like into the roots, and these roots are actually the roots of time. So this is going to be probably around end of October, November. There's going to be this deep dive into the roots of time, which relates to karma, so karmic aspects, but also our ancestors, our family lineage. And there's going to be a lot of transformation and transmutation of these roots of time. And what I perceived is that through the teachings and through this healing, there's going to be much more wisdom also. And this healing and transformation is going to be ongoing in 2024. So of course we've all done a lot of work on these subjects already, but it's almost like for the first wave of ascension of the light workers. And if you're watching this video, then it's probably because you are part of this first wave of ascension. We are really closing something. We are closing a chapter in 2024, because in 2025 there's going to be a very new energy coming in, and we're going to shift to something else. So here we are really kind of ending something regarding our past, which is karmic but also ancestral, So also I just wanted to mention, it's not because we are the first wave of ascension and that we are kind of pioneers on this earth that we are better than others. I remind you that Earth is a school, and in school you have different levels. So some are in kindergarten, some are finishing school, and it doesn't matter. It just means that we are evolving differently at different levels of evolution. That's all. That's all it means. So for light workers, it's going to be a very big closing of that chapter, so we can enter in 2025 with a new energy there. I hope this video was useful, and don't hesitate to subscribe or comment. This is really helpful for the channel, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Take care. Sat Nam.